Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupini avatara varishthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhormuhu Namastri Atirajaya Vivekananda Surya Satchitsukha Swarupaya Swamini Tapahayini. I think we are studying the chapter Thakur's visit to Vidyasagar. There is a very, very interesting conversation. Vidyasagar is supposed to be such a great Pandit, learned person. And Ramkrishna had never been to school. But yet he is not only matching with purpose, he is really giving him a run for money. So suddenly, Vidyasagar is asking, has he endowed some with more power and others with less? Because Ramkrishna was really, talking about the Vijnani, says, the living beings, universe, mind, intelligence, etc., are all his power. An aristocrat has neither house or property. One doesn't call him an aristocrat. If God is endowed with 6 supernatural powers, we are not who would obey him. Just see how this pictures universe, in how many things there are sun, moon, etc., etc. Good, strong, weak. There's Ramkrishna mentions some endowed with more power, some with less. Then immediately, Jagar is a very learned person, immediately latches onto these words and asks him, has he endowed with some with more power and with less? Ramkrishna so beautifully answers, as the all-pervading spirit, he exists in all beings, even in the ant. As Brahman, not only he exists, it's all same. There's nothing. As the ultimate truth or Atman or Brahman or consciousness, there's only one. There's no second. No question of distinction. See, any distinction or difference, etc. will arise. Any comparison, only if there is a second thing. Otherwise, there's no question of comparison. But manifestations power are different in different beings. Otherwise, how one person put to fight 10 to flight, when another can't face even one. So obviously, there is something very, very obvious. That's why he says, why do all people respect you? Have you grown a pair of horns? That's because you have more compassion and learning. Therefore, people honor you and come to pay you their respects. Don't you agree? But he smiled. Because naturally, the Vidya Ahankar is there. He doesn't want to say, yes, what you said is correct. He simply smiles. That's enough. That means he has agreed. Then he says, Thakur really hits the nail on the head. There's nothing in mere scholarship. Jagar is known for his great scholarship. But really hinting at it, Thakur says, there's nothing in mere scholarship. The object of study is to find means of knowing God and realizing Him. So, whatever one might say, all this knowledge of the sciences and arts and this and that, all that, they will not lead you anywhere in the path of realizing God. But to realize God, you have to read such books, such texts, should directly be a help in that direction. But obviously, Jagar has not done great study in that direction. Generally, he was a very knowledgeable person. He might have read a little of the scriptures also. But has his study been so purpose-oriented? So many of us read also, How many of us read only to realize God? That's a big difference. So he says, there was a monk at a book, and asked what it contained. He opened and showed that on all pages were written the words, Om Rama, nothing else. Because, he had no need for studying anything other than that. And whatever he studied in that direction. So whenever there was time, what to do? All right, write the name of Rama. So that the mind is again fixed on the same identity, same God, same object of adoration, whatever you might say. So, then again Thakur says, what is the significance of Gita? Is what you find it repeating the word 10 times. It is reversed into Tagi, which means the person who has renounced everything for God. Gita, 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 Gita. Gita becomes Tagi, means person who has renounced everything for God. I don't think nowhere in the world anyone has ever interpreted Gita like that. Very simple words. It's only one word, that's enough. And the lesson of Gita is, oh man, renounce everything and seek God alone. Whether a man is a monk or a householder, so shake off all attachment from his mind. So that is the real, that is Tyaga. Tyaga is not putting on a particular color dress or having a big jata and all that. No, going to the forest, going to the mountain, yes. Those things may help somebody, some people, particular, the thing help them lessen the distractions, etc. But the essence is to shake off all attachment from mind. The mind should be free from attachments. Then only one can become a true renunciate. Monk is a label, that's all. One has to be a true renunciate. So, again he gives another beautiful example. Chaitanya Deva set out on a pilgrimage to southern India. One day he saw a man reading Gita. Another man seated at a distance was listening and weeping. His eyes were swimming in tears. Chaitanya Deva asked him, do you understand all this? The man said, no, revered said, I don't understand a word of the text. Then why are you crying? Asked Chaitanya. The devotee said, I see Arjuna's chariot before me. I see Lord Krishna and Arjuna seated in front of it, talking. I see this and I weep. You see, how many people while reading Gita get this kind of vision? People are reading Gita for ages, for all their life. Every day they read. Is it not? Every day we read Kathamrita. Does Thakur come and stand in front of us and explain this is what it is? But here's a person, he is so immersed in that idea, what Gita really means, what it stands for, what one should get from Gita, in what condition the Gita was spoken. All that is completely absorbed so much. So ultimately he knows that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, that is the whole of Gita. Give up everything and surrender to me. That without understanding the text or the Sanskrit or the grammar or the syntax or anything, straight away he has gone into the job. So completely his mind totally focused on Sri Krishna. He listens and is so elevated. Why does the Vijnani keep an attitude of love towards God? The answer is that I consciousness persists. It disappears in the state of samadhi, no doubt, but it comes back. So, he also said there are probably some 3 types of samadhis. One is that in which one's own samskaras bring the mind back to the normal state of consciousness due to past. Otherwise, there is always a big question. I was also once thinking about it. See, in samadhi, I think there is no vritti in that samadhi. It's completely a state of total vritti-less condition. The mind, there's no vrittis, so obviously no thoughts. Completely calm like a rippleless lake. How does vritti again appear in that mind? It's a question. If the vritti doesn't appear, then the body falls off. So this way they say, in one case, our own samskaras, the past birth, they just again sprout, bringing the mind back from the state of samadhi, and you participate. Of course, see a person after having samadhi, and he comes back to the world, even if it is getting hold of some vritti, yet his life will be very different. Will not be the same person at all. Person who has had samadhi and he comes back, will be definitely very, very different. Anyway, but still the person comes back because of the person's own vrittis from the past. Then another they say is like where someone brings them back to normal consciousness. Like in the case of Sri Ramakrishna, someone had to chant various mantras in his ears so that some vritti is created in the mind, comes back. And then perhaps the third is that those who simply give up the body after, Sri Ramakrishna himself says, after 21 days, the body does not last in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That might be case of third time. So when Thakur always talks of the state of Vijnana, where after getting into the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the person, comes back and lives in the world with a totally new kind of awareness. He doesn't see the world as he used to see or as it was before. Rather, he sees the world as something very different. It's full of that kind of a consciousness or whatever it is, permeated by all that, through and through. Yet, when he comes back, the vritti, the I consciousness persists. Then how does it handle it? Otherwise, again, it will also degenerate to the normal kind of way in which egoistically people function. No, it is not that. There he says, it keeps towards, a love of God. In the case of ordinary people, the I never disappears. You may cut down the Aswatha tree, but the next day sprout shoots up. So, again, normally, there is no change. Our I consciousness only perhaps gets worse, whatever it is. But in the case of Vijnani, they keep the idea that I am the servant of God, lover of God, I participate. That kind of, the I that is completely the Dasami, the Kacha Pakami, which is subservient to the God and God's ways. Even with the attainment of knowledge, this I consciousness comes up, nobody knows from where. That's what it says. Even after getting the highest, it gets up. Normally, there is no explanation. How could the mind has become completely free from vrittis? How can it have again a vritti? But this is how it happens, as I told you. See, you dream of a tiger, then you wake up, but your heart keeps on palpitating. All our suffering is due to this I. The cow cries, Hamba, Hamba, which means I. See, again, this is shifting the topics. When you dream of a tiger, that state is over. You have woken up. For certain there is no real tiger at all. So there should not be anything. But still the effects of that, they persist in the mind. So that's why he says, even after that, when you come down from the state of samadhi, the I consciousness, when it comes back, again it will kind of go back to its old ways. So to prevent it, then it gives a new orientation like love of God, being a God servant, and so on and so forth. So he says, because you see, the whole thing is, all our suffering is because of this feeling of I. This is what really gives all the trouble, all the problems, everything. So how it can be done? He says, the cow cries Hamba, which means I. That is why it suffers so much. It is yoked to the plough, made to work in rain and sun. Then it may be killed by the butcher. From its hide, shoes are made, and also drums, which are mercilessly beaten. Still, it does not escape suffering. At last, strings are made out of its entrails for the bows and used in carding cotton. Then it no longer says Hamba, Hamba, I, but Tuhu, Tuhu, Thou, Thou. Only then are its troubles over. O Lord, I am the servant. Thou art the master. I am the child. Thou art the mother. How beautifully, how graphically he connects the whole thing. I don't know where the Hamba is exactly, it means I don't know where he has got explanation. And then, when it's strung to the bow and when it is released, the sound, I think similarly it resembles perhaps to something like that. So that means thou, I am the servant, I am the child, thou art mother. Any attitude of surrender that really, takes it differently. Once Rama asked Hanuman, how do you look on me? And Hanuman replied, O Rama, as long as I have the feeling of I see that thou art the whole, I am the part. So as long as there is individuality is in his mind, is what is. Thou art the master, I am the servant. But Rama, I have the knowledge of truth. Then I realize that thou art I and I am thou. So, even manifestation, God's forms and form, Rupa, etc., they're all, coming down from the highest level of absolute. At the highest level of absolute, there is no distinguishing. There is no distinguishing feature. There's no distinction. There's no individuality. So there's nothing like you are, something is God and you are lower and things. There's only one consciousness or one Brahman or Atman. But when you come down a little from that state, when there is the first semblance of distinction appears, then there is high, low, I, thou, everything starts happening there. The relationship of master and servant is the proper one. It says, and I must remain, let the rascal be God's servant. So when you are in the world, when you have that attitude, so it's always good to have the feeling that this I consciousness is very much there. So instead of that sprouting or that manifesting as my own power, my own ability, my own capacity, my own this, my, rather it's always be better as God's servant. I and mine, these constitute ignorance. Bangla talk na ami o amar, I and mine. My house, my wealth, my learning, my positions. The attitude that prompts one to say such things comes out of ignorance. Why? Because who's the thing, in a trice, everything can go. Happened, tsunami. Billionaires and street beggars were standing in the same queue in front of our ashramas in Sri Lanka and other places for relief. So what happened? You, if you're a billionaire, why couldn't you save it? It was yours. How it was taken away in a trice. So in a real sense, it's all there with you for the time being, that's all. Any idea that my it is, it only lead to disaster. So, when you lose the position also, you suffer so much, you are sorry, you are extremely sad, you are pained, you are difficulty. On the contrary, the attitude born of knowledge is, O God, thou art the master, all these things belong to thee. House, family, children, attendants, friends are thine. So everything is God's. I'm just a servant. I'm just trying to, I'm the custodian. I'm just keeping it. I have nothing to claim, nothing to say like that. One should constantly remember death. We were discussing elsewhere. Thakur clearly says, why should one constantly remember death? Then only how will the impermanency of the world, how will you get a grasp of it? Because, all possessions, all wealth, everything, the origin is me and mine. See, if you're a billionaire, or a trillionaire, or whatever it is, arabpati, crorepati, whatever it is, everything starts with this, me and mine. Even if there are maybe 10,000 crores elsewhere, what does it matter? So everything relates to this, meaning this body, this mind, this existence. So if you think that this itself is completely temporary, unstable, can go away in a trice at any time, etc., obviously there won't be the tremendous attachment to all that, is it not? Today I'm saying, so isn't that this moment if I gone, everything is gone. I can't take even a single paisa with me. Why so much of possession, so much of hoarding, so much of boasting, so much of show of wealth and pomp and all? Because in a moment it can all go. If only we understand the absolutely ephemeral and unreal nature of all this existence, all this terrible attachment to money and possessions and relations and all that would definitely they'll be under control at least. May not go away immediately, but definitely they'll be under control. The attitude, On the contrary, one should constantly remember death. Nothing will survive death. We are born into this world to perform certain duties, like the people who come from the countryside to Calcutta on business. Those days, not very famous to come to Calcutta from the countryside. Calcutta was considered a very great place. Coming to Calcutta was something very, very big. So from countryside, they come to Calcutta. But I know that they don't belong here. It's a place of aristocracy. They can't stay. They have to go back. They have come for some work. They belong to that village. So although they are here amidst all this show and this and that, they know that they don't belong to this place at all. So there's a clear understanding. If a visitor goes to a rich man's garden, the superintendent says to him, "This is our garden, this is our lake," and so forth. But if the superintendent is dismissed for some misdeed, he can't carry even his mango wood chest. He sends it secretly by the gatekeeper. So, the person who is looking after the manager and all that, says, "Our garden, our this, our," keeps on naturally, our. But the moment he does anything, if he is dismissed, bas has to leave the way he came, can't take anything. God laughs on two occasions. He laughs when the physician says to the patient's mother, "Don't be afraid, mother, I shall certainly cure your boy."
Fun.
God laughs saying to himself, "I'm going to take his life." And this man says he will save it. The physician thinks that he is the master, forgetting that God is the master. God laughs again when two brothers divide their land with a string, saying to each other, "This side is mine and that side is yours." He laughs and says to himself, "The whole universe belongs to me," but they say they own this portion or that portion. See, very difficult, how much we are conditioned by our possessions, our property, how people, they destroy properties, families, relations, everything, fighting over some possession. Oh, this is mine and that is yours. Whole industries have been destroyed. Whole groups have been destroyed by such wars between brothers and families and so on. That famous incident in Jairambati, and I think Kali and Barda, they were fighting. I think Barda's cart carrying the hay that was passing, and Kali had put his fence little encroaching, so the vehicle was finding it difficult, and each were really abusing each other and were almost coming to blows. Mother was pulling one brother first and then another brother, and we were standing in between them. After a great struggle, she managed to separate them, and each went their own way. Again, using the most choicest words of abuse. And then mother was, by the time, was physically tired. She sat on the veranda and suddenly she started laughing. It was attahasi, that kind of laughter. People, Ma was always very measured in her expressions. No one has seen her laughing aloud. No one has heard her talking aloud. Someone had always to be stand by her to say what she was saying, because even the person standing in front couldn't hear. So someone would be very close, some lady, the Gulapma or Yoginma or somebody, and they will say, "This is what mother is saying." Just a person laughing like this. People, a few who came, they were stunned. They didn't, no one dared approach her. Everyone was standing because they have not seen. Sara Jagat Pudayache. The whole world is lying and they are fighting. This is mine and that is yours. She knew the world is so unreal. Whose land? Who is fighting? What is this? Then after quite some time, she calmed down and then people could approach her. Suddenly, she was reminded of the absolute impermanence of the whole world. And now madly people are fighting for nothing which is meaningless. Can one know God through reasoning? Be his servant. Surrender yourself to him and then pray to him. Why God can't be known through reasoning? Because reasoning is also within the realm or domain of the indriyas, of the senses. It's also in the world of impermanence. which is also in the existential level only. But God, as we have even read or whatever people explain, God belongs to a transcendental realm. How from the world of Indriyas grasp as something which belongs to the level of Atindriya? It is beyond senses. Obviously, uh, such a achievement is not possible. So you can know, you can understand a little and this and that, but it's not possible to know God just by mere reasoning, because God belongs to the transcendental realm, whereas all our reasoning, everything is all in the realm of the senses of the Indriyas only. To Vidyashankar with a smile, well, what is your attitude? Someday I shall confide it to you. Again, they're all because of their huge background, big man, person of the society, these, that. So they will not speak very openly, freely like that. Then what always the fear, what others might say, what others might think. This is one day I will come and tell you privately. Like they go, Thakur, ekdam free. He has no inhibitions. Simply anywhere, just like that. And then he was going to visit somebody. I think maybe Devendranath Tagore or somebody there. I can't call him Raja and this and that. God alone is we're all servants, so we can't address anyone like that. So they invited him for a function. Then he understood that he will come just like that. He won't care for any formality. Then he quickly sent a letter, please don't come. You will come without shirt and buttoned and all that. He himself asked when he came to Vidyashankar, the shirt was not buttoned. No, will he mind anything? Said, no, for you, no problem. Yam was saying. Yam had already told him beforehand, Vidyashankar, what kind of Paramahamsa? Oh, he uses red bordered cloth and polished, varnished chappals. So he's not the Jata Juta Dhari. Don't think that he's that kind of a Himalayan monk or anything. Huh? Intoxicated with the divine love, the master's time. Who is there that can understand what Mother Kali is? Ke jaane Kali kya mun, Shad darshan na pai darshan. Even the 6 darshanas are powerless to reveal her. It is she, the scriptures say, that the inner self. Oh, the yogi who himself discovers all his joy. She that of her own sweet will inhabits every living thing. The macrocosm and microcosm are set in the mother's womb. Now do you see how vast it is? In the Mooladhara, the yogi meditates on her, and in the Sahasrara. Who but Shiva has beheld her as she really is? Within the lotus wilderness, she sports beside her mate, the swan. When man aspires to understand her, Ram Prasad must smile. To think of knowing her, he says, is quite as laughable as to imagine one can swim across the boundless sea. So because Ram Prasad had known her, not by his own effort, a mother's grace. So he knows that to think that one can catch her and know her and this and that, she says, as laughable as someone saying, I'll simply cross the ocean just by swimming. But while my mind has understood last, my heart has not. Though but a dwarf, it still would strive to make a captive of the moon. She says, I understand, the poet. Ramprasad says, I understand that. My intellect understands, but still my heart longs to have her. So this is okay. This is not out of ankara. This is not out of the feeling that, I can capture her, I can do nothing. It's out of sheer sense of being overwhelmed by the beauty, the glory, the compassion, and the extraordinary nature of God, Mother Kali. So the heart wants to possess her, although it is very, very small. The heart knows. I know my limitations, yet I love to possess her, get a glimpse of her, because she's so great. That's why, though a dwarf, still try to make a captive of the moon. How can a small dwarf have the moon? It's not possible. We can't even touch anything which is 5 feet height. The moon is maybe thousands and thousands of feet away. How can one touch the moon? It's not possible. Just like a dwarf aiming to capture the moon, the little heart thinks that Oh, I can capture. Continuing, the master said, did you notice the macrocosm and microcosm rest in the mother's womb? Now, do you see how vast it is? That is what, what is it? The individual, what the collective, the entire creation is hers. That's what it's meaning. Microcosm, macrocosm, everything has only. There's nothing that, see, there are two. One is a small little model of the individual, and the macrocosm is what is set in a large, in a totality. Both are within her only. As vast a microcosm as last little as a microcosm, both are in her womb only. Meaning thereby, she is the originator of everything. The whole creation originates from her. And the poet says, if the six darshanas are powerless to reveal her, she cannot be realized by means of mere scholarship. So, again and again you will see, Thakur will come around to the same thing. Mere scholarship can't do anything. Because Vidyashankar certainly had, knowingly and unknowingly, that great thing that he was a very learned man. The whole world was appreciating, the whole society. He was with the Swayasa Sagar, ocean of learning. But Thakur says this learning is not the learning for God. It's learning for the existential world. You can transact, you can run a school, you can run a college, you can teach others science, physics, maths, something. But this learning is not what you need, because otherwise Dr. Maharaj could realize God much more easily than Swami Vivekananda, who was maybe 1,000 times more brilliant, learned and all that. Because Dr. simply went straight. The moment he met Sri Ramakrishna, immediately understood that this person is something. If I catch hold of him, but it is done. Fell at his feet, the job was done. And he had no problem, no doubt, never he had any doubt, never any problem, never this. He only had to do sadhana. But Swamiji had to solve the doubts in his mind. He had to question, test Ramakrishna again and again in various ways, whether this person is really what he appears to be, and all that. Even at the point when Ramakrishna was just giving up his body, at that moment also he said, if now he says who he is, then I will believe. And immediately Thakur, like a lightning, came the answer. Now also there is doubt. Naren, he who came as Rama, who came as Krishna is in this body, Ramakrishna, not in a Vedantic sense. So, that's the difference. Of course, Indra was very great, ultimately at the Samadhi, and of course, probably he even scaled much greater peaks or whatever it is. In his case, it was necessary because his was for the Lokahita, to serve the world. But Latu was busy with his own realization. Now, incidentally, some things good might have happened later. People who came in contact might have benefited, but that was not his intention at all. Because even Swamiji's intention was not that, but he was clearly told by Sri Ramakrishna that you have come, you have to do mother's work. Now your Nirvikripa Samadhi will remain locked up. You have to do mother's work. Then only it will be open to you, that treasure. But Latu has no such problem. He had no such mandate. He came to liberate himself. So he did his sadhana. And very quickly it was, in his case, there was no doubt, no problem that way. So that's why mere scholarship will not work. One must have faith and love. Let me tell you how powerful faith is. A man was about to cross the sea from Ceylon to India. Vibhishana said to him, tie these things in a corner of your wearing cloth and you'll cross the sea safely. You'll be able to walk on the water, but be sure not to examine it or you will sink. The man was walking easily. Such is the strength of faith. When having gone part of the way, he thought, what is this wonderful thing Vibhishana has given me, that I can walk on even on water? He untied the knot and found only a leaf with the name of Rama written. Oh, just this! He thought, and instantly he sank. How powerful are Sri Ramakrishna's examples, how beautifully he puts them forth, no? So the power, the faith, that's what they say. There is a popular saying that Hanuman jumped over the sea through his faith in Rama's name, but Rama himself had to build a bridge. The Lord's name is more powerful than the Lord himself. Huh? And then there's this thing between Rukmani and Satyabhama. So many things, ornaments, etc. They have to wait. So Rukmani simply wrote in a Tulsi, Sri Krishna's name, and put it, and that side simply came down. That was found to be more weightier than the one where it contained all the gold and other ornaments, everything which Satyabhama had placed. So God's name is so powerful. Only thing is, very difficult to have that kind of a deep faith. The man simply took Rama's name and he never cared. He just flew over the ocean. If a man has faith in God, then he need not be afraid, though he may have committed sin, nay, the vilest of sin. Then Sri Ramakrishna sang a song glorifying. In Gita also Bhagavan says, na, Abhiche Sudaracharo Bhaktya Mananya Bhav Sadhareva Samantavya Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma Srashtra Santim Richati Konteya Pradijanihi Name Bhakta Pranishati. He says, even the worst sinner, if he turns towards me, he became the worst Durachari also. He becomes a sadhu, sadhureva samantavya. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. He becomes dharmatma and tries and attains eternal peace, shashvat santi. So that is the power of God, God's name. If only I can pass away repeating Durga's name, how can thou, O blessed one, withhold me from deliverance, wretched though I may be? Durga, Durga naam bole, mori. So, we pass away repeating Durga's name, it's not possible to withhold deliverance from me. The Master continued, faith and devotion. One realizes God easily through devotion, is grasped through ecstasy of love. So the point is, faith is something that's where we all really struggle, Our faith is so feeble, so flimsy, so surface level. It's not deep-rooted. That's what somewhere I read. One is, if one has, because of our samskaras in the past self, you'll find some people from a very young age, very spontaneously they have faith in God. They don't have to be told, oh, this is true, this is how it is, you read books, you are indoctrinated. No, just like that. Just like a swan takes to water, swimming, just like that. Very spontaneous. Does anyone teach swan how to swim? The moment it takes birth there, and then from maybe the moment it comes out of the egg, it is swimming. But, and also, one way is, you read the lives of great, extraordinary sadhakas, devotees of God, lovers of God, how over a period of time, again and again, they have been able to establish in that firm way of, having faith in God. So that gives us inspiration. That gives us a hint how such people, it's all through their intense love for God, faith in God, how they were redeemed, how they were saved, etc. And also in our own life, as again read in that same articles, that by repeated instances, again and again when we face crisis in life, when we again and again pray to God, you find that you really get out of it. May not be in the way we would like it to happen. Suppose there's a crisis, normally we would like a particular ending for that. Even if it doesn't happen that way, if you have faith in God, you find that after all, at the end of it, you are not simply drowned and finished and all that. You feel that yes, you have overcome that crisis in your own way, whatever might be the result. Yet you have the courage to stay, to carry on, to continue with life and so on. All those things happen because you have been constantly praying with faith in God. It may not be See, sometimes, like a lottery, it happens exactly the way the ending we wanted. But quite often the ending might be different. Yet because the process you went through is faith in God, that somehow brings some kind of a stability or calmness to the life at the end of all that happened. And you don't feel completely dejected, thrown out, defeated, and so on. You feel quite okay, finally. That's the power of prayer and faith in God. How are you trying, O mind, to know the nature of God? You are groping like a madman locked in a dark room. Is grasped through ecstatic love. How can you fathom him without it? Only through affirmation, never negation, can you know him. Neither through Veda, nor through Tantra, nor the six darshanas. It is in love's elixir only that he delights, O mind. He dwells in the body's inmost depths in everlasting joy. And for that love, the mighty yogis practice yoga from age to age. When love awakes, the Lord, like a magnet, draws to him the soul. He it is, says Ramprasad, that approaches mother. But must I give away the secret here in the marketplace? From the hints that I have given, O mind, guess what that being is. So Ramprasad doesn't want to share everything. He says, I can only give a hint. While thinking, the master went into Samadhi. He was seated on the bench facing west, the palms of his hand joined together, his body erect and motionless. Everyone watched him expectantly. Vidyasagar too was speechless and could not take his eyes from the master. See, it's not easy because now we are reading it after 100, 120, 130 years like that. Imagine how it is, even if you find normally a person who is deeply devoted, we feel kind of quite unnerved. If you find somebody who is really a great devotee, deeply devoted. So if really the Lord himself is sitting before you in Samadhi and all that, actually Vidyashikara, they were all shaken thoroughly. He was speechless. After times, Ramakrishna showed signs of regaining a normal state. I drew a deep breath and said with a smile, the means of realizing God or ecstasy of love or devotion, that is, one must love God. He who is Brahman is addressed as the mother. He it is, says Ramprasad, that I approach as mother. But must I give away the hint, the secret here in the marketplace? From the hints that I have given, O mind, guess what that being is. So, generally this was Ramakrishna's attitude. He did not make any distinction between Brahman and Shakti or mother. See, they were kind of obverse and reverse of the same coin. Like Agni and its power of burning or Dahika Shakti. So, very rarely you will find Ramakrishna taking a world negating view, saying that Brahman alone is true and the world is mithya, false. He took that stance. Usually, Saul Mother is manifesting as all this. Ramprasad asked the mind only to guess the nature of God. He wishes it to understand that what is called Brahman in the Vedas is addressed by him as the mother. He who is attributeless also has attributes. He who is Brahman is also Shakti. When thought of as inactive, is called Brahman. When thought of as creator, preserver, and destroyer, it's called the primordial energy, God. And he also gives very often a very apt example. Like the serpent which is lying with his kundli in a encircled, and when it is moving about. These are two different aspects of the same reality. When it is like that, like a serpent which is lying with his things all flame coiled up, then it's called Brahman. When it moves about, participates, then is the other, maybe Shakti. Brahman and Shakti are identical, like fire and its power to burn. When we talk of fire, we ought to mean also its power to burn. Can anyone segregate the power of Agni from Agni itself, or the sun from its brightness, or the water from its capacity to wet. The moment you mention one, the other automatically steps in. There is no distinguishing feature. Again, the fire's power to burn implies the fire itself. If you accept the one, you must accept the other. So that's why Brahmana Shakti Abhed was this very oft-quoted, very much known, recognized, and idea. So we can stop here, and then we can see next month wherever we are. Some other ways will continue. Now we have a few minutes for question answers, and then we let's call it a day. All of you must have had a wonderful time celebrating Thakur's birthday yesterday. There were wonderful celebrations. About 500 people came to this new small ashram.
Oh,
wonderful. That's so nice. Yes, Maharaj. If you could share something from there.
500 people, that's a
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
And you call that a small celebration.
Yeah, it's a new center, small one. So you can see our website. I think by now they may have uploaded everything. Nice bhajans, puja, home, and devotees coming, and very nice celebrations. Yes. Anybody?
Maharaj, you mentioned that you gave the example of Latu Maharaj, at how fast he made because of his faith, his shraddha, vis-a-vis Swamiji, who had doubts till the last moments of. So why does this happen? Is it only samskaras?
Yeah, the approach is, see, our approach towards the ultimate, to approach the goal of life, that determines, the struggles and all that. No?
Yeah.
So probably, and see, in these things, particularly in the case of Swamiji, we cannot really even say how it is exactly, because Swamiji was not an ordinary human being. He was Nishvara Koti, as Ramkrishna himself said. He was the one who was one of the rishis meditating the Saptarshi Mandala. Probably whatever he did was all more to, to explain to the whole world how one has to struggle and so on. Because otherwise, by no means it is meant that Latu Maharaj was greater than Swamiji or anything like that. Latu Maharaj, he also, because of samskar, because the moment Ramkrishna saw him, he said, this boy has some spiritual samskar. Oh, Ramchandra, please send him now and then, he said. So naturally he had that. Otherwise, there are how many, maybe thousands and thousands of Meshpalaks in India, how many really want God like that? So he had it. So immediately, but I'm saying, just because he had spontaneously, the moment he saw Ramkrishna, he felt so drawn towards him. And he never thought of ever doubting, asking, never ever. Whatever he said was final. Bas. Whatever that was it for him. So his journey that way, because we have so much trust, when you have someone so trustworthy behind you, how life is so wonderful. Someone whom you can trust under all circumstances, if such a person is behind you, your life is extraordinary. You can always draw upon that source. Whereas Swamiji, because he was so brilliant, his intellect was really his problem that way. You could really cut everything to pieces and analyze and understand. So if you have strong intellect, that's also a problem in spiritual life. Unless you learn how to navigate and take it in the right direction, it can be a big stumbling block that way.
Thank you, Maharaj. Anyone else? Any questions?
I have a question, Maharaj Prithvish here. So this chapter, what we see here is that Thakur was very eager to meet Vidyasagar because he had heard about his charitable work, etc.
Yeah.
He had heard so much from him and Master and others. So he wanted to see this person, whoever was doing good thing. Now, when all this discussion, what we see is that when he is talking to Vidyasagar, he also realizes this huge ego of scholarly nature or knowledge, etc., which is there, and his discussion comes like that. He tries to mention that you cannot judge God or understand God just by panditto or this.
Yeah.
So question of mine is that, is there any view that did Vidyasagar at all get influenced or did some of this visit from Thakur in future? Like,
we don't know. We don't know, but he was deeply impressed in that visit itself. And afterwards, I don't know, whatever he did, probably, See, it requires, that's what, even if God himself comes, unless you do sadhana, unless you take it that way, it will not, it doesn't change you immediately or permanently. We really don't know what happened. Not much is known further about all that. Obviously, he was impressed, that much is true, but I think that's where it was.
Okay. Whereas Thakur was disappointed later when Vidyasagar said he will visit him.
No, not disappointed. In the sense, he said, he has so much of good things, like Sona Chapadava, I said. Like a gold which is lying hidden. He does not know that he is sitting on a gold mine. Obviously, because a person with such great qualities, if only he strives a little, he could have really progress. Sometimes, even our goodness itself can be a great hindrance. Actually. Because, when we are good, we want to be good in front of others. We want everybody to think that we are good. So in that effort to keep our image of goodness, we lose in the spiritual world that way.
You are very right. I think this is very well.
And Maharaj, in this regard only, as an extension, there is a comment by Vidyasagar where he says that so he was a very popular person at that point of time, so people knew him, and one person must have abused him, and he's made that comment that I don't remember doing anything good to you. So oita ami kishutei bujhte pari na, mane what exactly did he mean by saying?
No, he was used to, he says, people being ungrateful and people being, because however much you do, people always expect more,
Okay.
So next time you go, if you don't do, then you turn against that person.
Okay, so it's basically that ungrateful. Okay.
Nothing is,
lack
people
of
gratitude.
Okay.
People don't recognize, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. Prasanji, I have to hold correct minute. I'm on or you just call me in 3 minutes. I'm in a meeting. So that's it, and that's probably, that's how he's used to being people like that. Maybe, someone comes again and again for help. Obviously, you can't help infinite number of times. Then once you say no, the people become very angry and ungrateful and so on. So he says, why are you, I did not ever help you. What is it? He was saying that in that sense. He was used to people being ungrateful like that.
Does this have this thing with our spiritual, does this carry any message for our spiritual, this thing? Because for being spiritual, the doing good to others is an integral part of being spiritual.
Yes, definitely. See, the point is, it's always, it will help our, it will help mold our samskaras, maybe get rid of some of the other negative things that we had done in the past or whatever it is. Doing good to others, see, it again creates good samskaras in our mind, So that way it's always good to do good to others. And also, the more and more, if you do with the right attitude, Swamiji says that will directly lead to a higher awareness or a realization itself. So doing good is definitely one of the recommended paths for spiritual progress.
Okay, the karma yoga basically.
Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna Prakash. Namaskar to everybody. Namaskar.
Namaste, Maharaj.